أصبح للمدينة برنامج ديربورن شو أسبوعيا ساعة مباشرة من وسط المدينة يتضمن العديد من الفقرات والمسابقات بالإضافة إلى
Hello everyone, this is Hassan Ahmed and I have the honor of being your host today, away from politics. We come to you from the heart of Dearborn, the capital of Arab American in the USA, with a special conversation filmed at Galata Cafe here in West Dearborn. This is the Dearborn Show, the first program of its kind that sheds light on the city's present and its remarkable transformation. Our guest today is not just a journalist, but a man who has helped write and document Dearborn's history for over 4 decades through the Arab American News, a newspaper that became the voice and the platform of the community. Through its pages, he revealed the struggles of Arab Americans, defended their rights, and told their stories to the world. This episode comes at a historic moment as Wayne County has announced the naming of the intersection of Warren and Chase and Warren and Schaefer in Dearborn after Osama Siblani. A gesture of recognition and gratitude of his lifelong services and his role as a symbol of resilience and cultural diversity. Mr. Siblani, the Dean of the Arab American community in Michigan.
The servant of the community.
Welcome to the Dearborn Show.
Thank you very much.
First, I would like to congratulate you on a well-deserved recognition by Wayne County. It is an honor not only bestowed upon Osama Siblani, but in my opinion, bestowed upon the whole community through Osama Siblani. First, I would like to thank County Executive Warren Evans and County Executive Deputy Asad Turfi for their efforts to make this happen. Mr. Siblani, again, welcome to the Dearborn Show. Let's start from the beginning.
Can I ask you to call me Osama in my name, first name?
Definitely.
Yeah, I feel more comfortable this way. And like I said, you know, I'm only the servant of this community, and I'm honored to serve
You're
the
too
community.
humble. Mr. Siblani,
No,
too humble.
it is the truth. I don't mean to be a humble, person. I mean to be myself, and that's what I have been for the last 41 years, myself.
God bless
What
you
happened on Monday by the honorary name on Michigan on Warren Avenue from Schaefer to Chase is something to recognize our community that has taken so many times beating, but
Definitely through your hard work for over 40 years.
It stood, fought back, resilience with resilience and steadfasting, and now we started by being only 3-4%, 5% of the city when I walked in 1984 on September 7th, by the way.
But definitely we're going to get to
now we are about 52 to 53. Sometimes we go up to 55% of the city. So things have changed drastically, and it's not only me, but there are many people who've contributed to the growth of the city.
When I look at you, I don't look at Osama Siblani from Dearborn. I look at you, Osama Siblani of the Arab community in the whole state of Michigan, if not probably the USA. But let's go back, let's start to hear more about Osama Siblani, his journey, his first experience from coming from Lebanon to the United States, and tell us more about Osama, and what was the main challenges you faced when you first came to the USA?
Well, basically, I arrived in the United States on December 28, 1976 at 5:30 in the evening from London, from Beirut via London, Heathrow Airport to here. One-way ticket. And I had in my pocket only $185. And I waited for a couple of hours, 2-3 hours, I think 4 hours maybe, for someone to come and pick me up.
Wow.
And it was cold, snowy, and didn't have enough clothes on me to bear the cold weather. I remember it was a night maybe I will remember for the rest of my life. And I arrived, my brother was here, my 2 brothers were here, but they were a little far and busy to come and pick me up. Actually, 1 brother was here. And then later in the evening, he came and picked me up, and we went to the house in Detroit on Marlborough Street, and this is where the journey started. Next day, I went to work, and I parked cars, delivered pizza,
Oh, wow.
and pumped gas at the same time, and the same day. And I went to school. I went to University of Detroit. It's a private school. Now it's Detroit Mercy.
Mercy, okay.
It's a Catholic university. And I graduated in 1979, in May 1979, in electrical engineering. It was a very rough times because I had to pay for my own schools and also share the expense of the house. My brother left 1978 to Lebanon.
Okay.
This is where I became a resident. He gave me my residency because he was an American citizen. That day, the same day, he became an American citizen, and he got his naturalization citizenship.
You
The
went
next
back?
day in the morning, we went there and we got my green card. The same day, we walked in. We went to the INS, Immigration Nationalization Services. It's different time. you know.
Definitely,
It's so we went there at 7:30 in the morning. Waited until they opened at 8 o'clock. By 8:30, we were called. 9 o'clock, we left with my green card.
Oh, wow.
So they gave me the number. Of course, the green card came in two weeks later in the mail. And in 1984, on October, I was naturalized. I was given the citizenship. And actually, the one who gave us the citizenship was President Ronald Reagan in the
wow.
Cobo Hall, which is now Huntington Place.
Okay.
And we were like
Definitely a day
from
to remember then.
110 people from 50 different countries.
Oh, wow.
And this is like 1 month after I started the paper, because I started the paper in September 7, 1984.
84.
And the journey was, I left, before I graduated, I went into a training program at General Motors. I was an engineering trainee. And I worked for 6 months. They wanted me to stay, but it was boring, and I did not like it. I wanted to be the next president of General Motors.
Okay.
You know how we are very,
I think that's
very
why,
ambitious.
that's why we connect. You have background in engineering. I have a background in engineering, and
Correct.
I guess we decided to take a different path.
Right.
You took the path of being in the media, being a journalist, and I took the path, I guess, of real estate and now in public service. But since we mentioned this, what inspired you? Since I know you struggled so much in the beginning, you had to park cars, pump gas, all this stuff. Then you went through schooling, through hard work. And what made you decide to take the path of media, especially at a time what wasn't easy for an Arab American to be in that field?
Well, at the beginning, let me tell you, first of all, I have been always active in my life since I was 10 years old. When I was 10 years old in Lebanon, I used to walk the streets in support of Martin Luther King and the revolution of civil rights in America. So I was very involved. I was also a Nasserite. I support Jamal Abdel Nasser, and I'm one of his generation. So, and I thought the Palestinian issue was a main issue to me, you know, from the beginning, from when I was young, you know. And when I came here because I wanted to start, you know, I want to get education and go back to Lebanon to give to my country. But things did not work out. It was the civil war at that time. So when I graduated from the school, I went to a job at the Clementi Siegel Engineering. It's a professional engineering company.
Okay.
It still exists in Southfield. And I became one of their managers later on, but I was hired by Energy International, it's owned by Net Fawaz.
Okay.
Who was, at the beginning, it was just opening. And then later, I became the vice president of the company, and I was traveling overseas a lot. Like I spent 1 month here and 1 month overseas, traveling Africa, Europe, the Middle East. And every time I travel, I stop to see my mother. But let me say here something. It's very important because I came from, at that time, relatively very poor family. We're not poor anymore, but we were very, very poor. I mean, we could not afford a round trip ticket. And so I struggled. Okay, I struggled a lot financially and all that stuff. But then when, you know, and I'm the youngest
In the family?
in the family of 11 children.
Oh, God bless.
So my brothers and sisters are older than me. So when I came here, I wanted to go to school, get education, get a job, make some money, and help my family. Okay, and that's what I did. But I couldn't stop thinking about the Palestinians and how they have suffered. And it was like, for me, I wanted to do something. But then what triggered all this, because I used to travel, like I said,
With the engineering
overseas.
job.
So the first money that I made here, I went back to Lebanon to visit my mother. And I wanted to do something for her. So I rebuilt the house, furnished it, and supplied her with good living because she was old. She had carried a lot of weight.
That's in Balba, correct? Or
And I'm Balbak. No, but I was talking about the house in Beirut.
in Beirut, okay.
In Beirut, in the suburbs of Beirut, Bilmraji.
Right, okay.
Bilmraji. So what happened is that we, you know, I did spend a lot of money to renovate the house, to furnish the house and everything else. And every time I travel to the Middle East, I stop to see my mom for 1 hour, 2 hours, overnight, coming and going. On June 5, 1982, I was coming from Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, and visited my mother. But I saw that there was a sign of war that's developing very quickly. So I told my mother, listen, you know, go to the village, go to Flewa. I'm from Balbak. And I said, you know, I told my sister, take her and go to Flewa because I think it's pretty bad. Now I'm going to go to the airport and leave because before I get stuck here. I left. I went to Paris. And 2-3 days later in Paris, because it wasn't like today, there was no internet, there was flights from Paris to Detroit. They were like 2 times, a week.
A week, yeah.
Yeah. So I left Paris and came to Detroit 3 days later. But I'm not a French-speaking person. This is very rare, actually, in Lebanon. So I was in Paris, but I wasn't watching television and understanding what's going on. But I see, you know, like they're bombing.
Something
and
going
like,
on, yeah.
Yeah, they're bombing Lebanon. And the New York Times used to come like 2 days, 3 days later to Paris. So when I came here, 2 days later, I found out that the house that I renovated for my mom, and I put all my, young youth
Savings
in it.
Wow.
Like my pillows, my blankets, my love letters, my pictures.
All your memories.
I put them in the house. It was bombed by Israel and destroyed, burned totally to the ground. And I was watching television, NBC, ABC, CBS. Mind you, at that time, there was no CNN, Fox, or any of these, channels, and also no internet and no cellulars and all that. So I was just like frustrated watching NBC and ABC and CBS talking about Lebanon and Israel occupying Beirut, the capital. And no one is there telling our story, saying, look, we are a country that is a part of this world. We are a member of the United Nations.
It's forgotten. Nobody is talking about it.
And why would a country go and occupy and also assign a president and, So it was really frustrating for me. I wanted to tell my story. I wanted to have a seat at the table where our story, we tell it. Nobody knows how to tell your story better than you.
Definitely, yeah.
So I decided, I said, either I can continue making money. I was making lots of money, by the way. Either I continue to make money or I wanted to make a difference.
So
I decided to make a difference. So started thinking since then, that was in June 1982, I went to explore radio, television at that time.
Yeah.
But every time you reach an agreement with someone, or some televisions, or take an hour or 2 hours, the small captions at the end of, like the details, the small print they call it.
Correct.
In the contract says that we have the right to terminate
You at
this
any time.
contract right away.
So this is one of the struggles probably you face too.
Yes, of course, because you know who controls the media in here, and they want to silence me if I go that direction
Correct.
to talk about what's happening in the Middle East, the Palestinians.
So basically, they want you to tell
So
their
I
stories.
decided to go with the newspaper. I can put it in an envelope, print it anywhere, and just send it anywhere in the United States.
So I take it then you came from Lebanon, you went for engineering, you found engineering is not for you. You had a message. So that brought the idea of the birth of the Arab American News. So that made you decide to establish the Arab American News, which is over more than 40 years ago.
41 years ago.
41 years ago.
September 7th, 1984.
So I take it that the core message that you wanted to deliver is the story of the people in here and the story of the people in the Middle East and the struggle they're going through. Is that correct?
Of course. We wanted to have a seat at the table so we can express our opinions and voice and tell our stories where it counts. In the media, in public places. My objective was if we are not really at the table, if we did not have a seat at the table,
We're not going to make a difference.
no one is going to hear our message. No one is going to talk about our issues, what's important to us. And frankly, no one knows how to tell your story better than you. So I did not see these people, telling our stories. In fact, they were justifying, the invasion of Lebanon, the killing of people, the bombing of the capital. And to me, it was like, we must do something, so making money is good, but you've got to make a difference. And my objective at that time is I wanted to be able to create a place where if someone wants to know about our opinion, they can come to that place, that address, and get our opinion. And also bring our community from the closet at that time. Because Hollywood was disseminating information and movies about us that gave us a very bad image and distorted our image and our culture and our tradition. So that was another, in my opinion, it was another reason for me to get involved. And at that time, it was the ADC. It just started, from the backdrop of the app scam, which is the Arab scam. That was like, it was, again, they used Arab dress and Arab people. They used them to, attract crooks and corrupt people. So because we were the corrupt, we were the womanizer, we were the filthy but the rich. We have oil, but we don't know what to do with it. These are the images that have been disseminated. And Hollywood is a very powerful, place where they can disseminate misinformation. And also the media was not treating us fair. And gave us, very bad image as well, as terrorists, as people who are, they wanted to kill and throw the Jews in the sea and all that stuff. So, and we were the victims, and we needed to stand up and tell our story. And there was no other way. Nobody was going to tell your story. No one. So I decided to take it. I did not know how expensive it is. I did not know how difficult it is. Remember, I'm an engineer.
Correct. You're good with numbers.
Well, we looked at the numbers, and I had to make a decision either to continue to be a vice president and make money and supporting the newspaper, or resign and manage the newspaper, because I saw at that time that it's very difficult to manage, bring in people to manage a newspaper.
I mean, definitely you took a risk, Mr. Siblani, and that risk flourished today, to be honest with you. It's not risk anymore. But I know you had a noble cause to start that newspaper, which is telling the story, the real story of the Lebanese or the Arabs, especially here in the United States. So my question is, how did the Arab community react to the first issue of the Arab American News? And did you ever imagine that the newspaper would last for over 4 decades and still present?
I just wanted to tell you that I have never, ever, ever took any actions, made any decision, walked anywhere thinking that I'm only Lebanese. I am an Arab American. And everything I have done in my life, it was done through Arab American. It's the Arab American
The
News.
news.
It's the Arab American Political Action Committee. It's the Arab American Congress. I don't get involved in small, isolated communities
100%.
because I think dividing us is just weakening us.
100%.
And I just wanted to make sure that everybody listens. That if we talk about Lebanon right now, because Lebanon is being bombed.
Correct.
Today we talk about Yemen because Yemen is being bombed. And we talk about Gaza, every issue in the paper about Gaza, what's happening in Gaza.
Because Gaza is still being bombed.
So because it's being bombed. And the issue is Palestinian. The issue is Palestine. The issue is Israeli aggression. And the issue also is how we've been treated in here, how we can move forward and become a powerful community to have a place under the sun. This is America. I look at America as a corporation. It's called the United States Inc., United States Incorporated. In order to have seat at the table in any corporation, you have to buy stocks.
Definitely, yeah.
So if you don't own stocks, you have no seat in the corporation. And that's what I thought. I thought we have to buy stocks. We have to get involved. And that was another objective of mine, that we need to start even thinking that this is our country. And in order for us to bring our community and our future generations to be a part of this country, an effective part of this country, people who can be judges, state representative, Congress, and maybe one day in the White House, presidents, that we need to be involved. We need to be Americans, But that doesn't mean that we should forget about our culture. And that doesn't mean that we should forget about our issues. And that doesn't mean that we should, stand with the Zionist organizations in here like they. And that was my objective. And I think that we have accomplished a lot. But it's the beginning.
It's the beginning. We have a lot.
It's the beginning.
So if we can go back to my question, what was the Arab community reaction to the first issue of the newspaper, and did they show support back then? I know it was back in 1984, not a lot of Arab Americans in Dearborn or the area, so.
First of all, I did not put my name on the paper for the first year. It was published by First Publishing Corporation. And the reason that I did not put my name at all, because I don't want people to identify the paper by the individual. Oh, Osama Siblani, he is the
for everybody.
This is, I want the
Arabs.
people to evaluate the paper, judge the paper on its contents, on its merits. So I do not put my name in the paper at all. And the issues are here, in the archives, they can see it. But in 1985, something happened that put me in the spotlight, which is the hijack of the TWA airline and the hostages, the American hostages that were taken into Lebanon. And that exposed our community and the newspaper and myself. How the community responded to the paper? Well, let me tell you, first, in our country, back home, in Lebanon, anywhere in the Arab world, newspapers are, in the opinion of the people, of the masses, are supported by government. They are mouthpieces of government or entities or rich people that they can finance a project like this. So at the beginning, I heard, every time I did an interview with a leader like Yasser Arafat at that time, I was getting paid by Yasser Arafat. Then I did an interview with Gaddafi, I was paying by Gaddafi. Like every time you interview a major figure, they say, they accuse. But eventually, people picked up the paper, people read the paper, and people wanted to believe in the paper, but you have to give them a good reason to do it. So they were hesitant at the beginning. And of course, we did not have the community that we have today. Like we did not have the businesses to support the paper.
Right.
And that was one of the things that I had thought, that if I do a newspaper that's respectable, that offers contents, that I will get corporate America to advertise in my paper later, not necessarily immediately.
Yeah.
And I did not know that our community don't have anything. At that time, there was nothing, zero. Even in East Dearborn,
Right.
nothing. So it was very difficult dealing with our community, for a small community, immigrant community, that most of them are uneducated.
Still struggling, so you didn't see that much support.
So and they didn't have the money to support anyway.
Yeah.
But they have lots of criticism and lots of you should do this and you should do that.
Yeah.
I'll give you a story. It's funny, but I want to tell it. So one day before I was known, I was not known. I mean, like I walk in and nobody knows who I am. So I walked into the Islamic Center of America on Joy Road in Greenfield.
Okay.
At the beginning of the paper, I'm talking 1985, beginning of 1985. And I used to put the paper in the lobby. Every week I put it in the lobby. So 4 or 5 guys, which all became my friends later on, they were picking the paper and talking about the paper and the contents of the paper. And one of them was saying, do you know who owns this paper? And they said, well, we know who is the face, a guy named Osama Siblani, but it's Yasser Arafat. and it's financed by Yasser Arafat, but he is the face of it. And he said, the other guy said, are you sure? He said, yeah. He said, do you know him? I said, yeah, I know Osama Siblani. I'm listening, I'm standing.
Are you standing right there?
Yeah, I know him very well. And then he said, are you sure that he is with Yasser Arafat? And he said, yes, Yasser Arafat finances paper. I said, so if you see Osama Siblani, you would tell that who he is? He said, yes. He said, I'm Osama Siblani. Out of the 3 or 4, I think at that time, I think there is still one who's still alive. The others have died.
So,
God bless their soul.
After listening to that story, Mr. Siblani, let's compare the past and the present of our community. How would you describe the reality of the Arab and Muslim community in Dearborn and the area when the newspaper first started, compared to what we see today?
Well, like I said, our community was in nowhere to be found. We were just, most of our friends and today the older generation, they were, working at Ford. And that's why we're in Dearborn, because of the Rouge and all the stuff. So we were Ford employees, in the car industry. We were not engineers. We were not anywhere.
Blue collar workers.
And later they became gas station owners and then party store owners, and then they taught their kids, and they started, becoming doctors, lawyers, and opening places and restaurants and so on and so forth. And now we are who we are right now. We are at this stage. That's how the community developed. But during that time, the newspaper was encouraging, following, and pushing the community to move forward.
It was like just the backbone of the community.
That's right. That's right. And we were telling our stories. No one can tell your story better than you. So we were telling our stories.
Basically, we're telling everybody we exist, we're here, we're hardworking.
Yeah, and also
individuals.
one of the important mission of the paper was, and that's why Arabic and English were from the beginning, is to bring the older generation and the the new immigrants. I'm talking about the old generation, the people who came here as immigrants, not as refugees, and immigrants. And they have changed their names. They have become more Americans. They have discarded their culture and heritage, and they took names. I'll tell you an example of those. So one day, I got a phone call from a guy, and he said, "Oh, I just saw the newspaper, the Arab American News, and I wanted to come and see you." And I said, "Yeah, of course, yeah, anytime." He said, "I'm Lebanese," and I said, "Oh, okay, well, love to see you. What's your name?" And he said, "My name is Herbert Chervish." And I said, "Herbert Chervish and Lebanese?" And he said, "I'll come and tell you the story." So he came in and he came into my office, and so he told me the story. He said, when my grandfather came to the country, he came in His name is Habib Shawish.
Wow.
And he came to Ellis Island. And there, the customs, and immigration customs officer was German. So I asked him, what is your name? And he said, Habib Shawish. He said, no, Herbert Shervish. So Herbert Shervish came in, walked into the United States, became a citizen. He got married, and he had a son, named him William Shervish. And then William Shervish is my father. So when I was born, he called me Herbert Shervish, like
So became like Lebanese German almost.
Yeah. So he said, I took my father's name, but we are Lebanese from Zahli.
Wow.
And I asked him if he's been there to Zahli, and he said no. But these, like Spencer Abraham, like many of the people who left their identity because there was no way to keep touch with their ancestors.
Pretty much they disappeared.
That's why I had the English part of the paper. I want to bring the American born first, second, third generation to the immigrants in this country and their kids back in the same page.
Back together. Mr. Siblani, as you mentioned, we went over the past and the present.
Please call me Osama.
Osama,
Yeah.
as we went over the past and the present, and as someone who witnessed this city's growth and the community's growth, what are the most significant milestone that reflects Dearborn's transformation over the years, or maybe the community transformation over the years?
You know, this is a very important question, and we can take hours to talk about it. It's sad that our young people who were born and raised in this country don't know their history, the history of how this city was transformed. When I came in to Dearborn in 1984, Jack O'Reilly Sr., which is Jack O'Reilly Jr.'s father, who was the chief police of Orville Hubbard, who governed Dearborn for more than 34 years, I think 36 years.
As mayor?
As a mayor.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
He was his police chief. And then when he died, when Orville Hubbard died after a stroke, he became the mayor. He was elected the mayor, and he served 2 terms. So when I came in, it was the end of his second term. And it was the beginning of a new era.
Michael Guido.
Michael Guido. So Michael Guido launched his campaign from number 3 in the candidates to become number 1 and win on an anti-Arab platform. He put out a tabloid saying, let's talk about the Arab problem.
Wow.
And that brought him from number 3
To number 1.
to number 1. And he won the election. At that time, I was starting publishing the paper. And I confronted him. And I attacked him. And the community was, at that time, was no position to be, to influence the election. But I remember at that time there was a magazine in Detroit that comes out monthly. It's called The Detroiters. I have a copy of it. And at that time, when the campaign became heated on the issue of Arabs and discrimination, and it's known historically that Dearborn is a racist town. Orville Hubbard was the racist mayor. So
I think he's the one who put all the police, Dearborn, Detroit border in the 60s, correct? When
well, during the riots.
Yeah, during the riots.
The Dearborn Press and Guide, they have a headline by Orville Hubbard: if you see a nigger, shoot him and drag him into Dearborn. Shoot and kill. So he was racist against the black, but also he was racist against Arab. But he did not look at the Arab from the door, because they were coming through the windows, to Dearborn to work at the Ford Rouge plant, and they lived in the South End. So what I was saying to you is that the Detroiters put my face on one page and Michael Guido's face on another page, and they put neighbor versus neighbor, because my office was across the street from the city hall.
On Michigan Avenue?
On Michigan Avenue. It was a fight, but it was a respectable fight. And it was the beginning of a change, because they didn't think that they have anybody that can stand against Mike Guido. And here we go. So the paper across the street came out to say, hey, there is a new sheriff in town in here, and they're not going to let you do what you thought you will be doing. So it was a struggle at the beginning. Our community was not in a position to be a, you know, like a kingmaker at that time, or at least to have any significant impact on the election. But surely and forcefully, actually, we started moving forward. We did pretty good. So in September 11 in 2001, we had a candidate for mayor, Abed Hammoud. And he did wonderful. But September 11 came in the same day that we had the election. And with the September 11 and the baggage that came out that has paralyzed our community and put us in a very, very bad place that day. Because I was subjected to assassination at that day.
Oh, wow.
We were operating from the office right now of the Arab American News on Chase. And two came in with their knives. They want to cut my throat. And there were like 30 people in the office at that time, because we were running the election from the election campaign from the office. And the police and the FBI came in and arrested the two guys and then put them in jail. But to show you, even at that time, with all that was happening, Abed Hammoud won the primary with Michael Guido. They both of them won the primaries, and it was like very hot primary where he spent almost over 300,000 in his campaign.
Guido.
Wow. Okay. And we raised about 165,000 because they did not think that we were able to raise this kind of money. And they did not think that we were going to launch a campaign, a respectful campaign, putting out literature that makes sense. Because what we did is we did a poll by Epic MRA, and we paid for the poll $22,000 at that time. And that was not a poll, that was a roadmap of how to change Dearborn from a racist town to a friendly town, where we can coexist with other people. What should we do as Arab Americans? So it was a very detailed proposal. But September 11 came in and turned everything upside down. Then Abed Hammoud, which is Abdullah Hammoud is the mayor right now, but Abed Hammoud at that time.
Yeah, what's the chances Abed didn't become the mayor, but we have another Abed Hammoud.
That's what I'm saying, that people do not know the history.
Yeah.
So Abed Hammoud at that time, he won the south end and the east end. And Michael Guido won the west end. With September 11, the day of the election.
Wow.
It was the beginning. And then, you know, things changed. And here we are today. The mayor is Abdullah Hammoud, and the chief of the court, Judge Sam Salami, and the
chief of police.
The police chief is Isa Shaheen. All of them Arab American. The president of the city council is Mike Saraini. So we have traveled a long distance, but it's only the beginning. And yes, Dearborn is the capital of Arab America, but now we have, this is the roots, but where the branches are getting bigger and they're spreading.
So this is the starting
Dearborn
point.
Heights, Hamtramck, Canton, Northville, Plymouth.
So
we're on the march. We're on march.
Definitely.
You know, we're going to do much better.
So Osama, after 4 decades in journalism, what still motivates you to continue? Are there any new projects you consider in beyond the Arab American News, or?
Actually, we have several projects. As you know, we have the Arab American Political Action Committee, APAC, which we started in 1998. Abed Hammoud is the founder and the co-founder. And we started the Arab American Foundation in 2022. We're giving scholarship, and we're taking right now, hopefully, a delegation of doctors to to Lebanon to do some surgeries for the knees and hips.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and so we are trying to diversify in our work. I will never stop. The Arab American News is the base, is the
ongoing.
launching pad, and you know, we are online right now, and we have been online before, even since www was you know invented. So anyway, what we have is right now we have a community that is on the rise, on the march, and you have the doctors, the lawyers, the engineers, the real estate agents,
And
the
they're lucky
brokers.
to have Osama Siblani by their side, to be honest with you. But
Well, I am proud of what they have achieved. We have the judges, we have people in the Congress, we have people in the state. We have very good relationship with the governor, with the Secretary of State. We had it with the Attorney General. We hope that we can mend it. You know, all this, it didn't happen overnight.
Definitely.
It just
Over
took
the
a
years.
lot of work and efforts by so many people, including myself, in order to make it happen. But I tell you, everything you see right now, it's only the beginning.
Definitely. Osama, before we end with this last question, what is your message to the Arab American youth today, especially those who want to follow in your footsteps in serving their community through media or public work?
Let me tell you, first of all, I want to warn of divisions. Some people, they see in divisions a place for them. But this is not where our community should be going. We are supposed to be united,
To win.
because united, we are strong. Divided, we are weak and we fall. So in this country, like I said, it is the USA Inc. Incorporated. You have to have stock. And this is very expensive, stock. America is a big country. And for you to have a place, you need to start building coalitions. Not to divide your communities into Yemeni, or Lebanese, or Palestinian. No, it's to bring all of them under the banner of Arab Americans.
One community.
And then go and build coalitions. I have built coalitions with the Latinos, with the African Americans, with Asian Americans. I spoke with Indo Americans all the time, and they come to my office. We plan, we try to do things together. So bringing coalitions into Europe, the African Americans, the white Americans who are really supporting us, you know. So what we need to do is we need to start building coalition in order to strengthen our community. We don't have to agree on everything. We don't have to agree on.
That's the only way to move forward, is to stay united.
And I warn against, you know, like those people who are trying to divide us in order to find a place or a seat to sit down. That's not going to last. Because in this country, you have only a place for the strong, the people who can present their future with strength, not with weakness.
There's only one check mark, Arab American. There's no Lebanese American or Syrian American.
There is we are Americans from the Arab world. We are 7,000 miles from there. Let's leave the divisions and the backwardness there, because we traveled the 7,000 miles in order to start something, but not to forget our culture, where we came from. I remember when in 1984, when I got my citizenship, Ronald Reagan spoke. You know what he said? By the way, he was a Republican president. He said, now you became citizens of America. You should not forget where you come from. You should keep your culture, you should keep your heritage, and you should share it with America to make America a better place. This is the kind of leader that we had at that time. Look at the leader that we have right now.
That's what we need today too, but
The leader that we have today is dividing us against each other. Anyway, this is what I hope. I hope that we can unite, build coalitions, and move forward and become more effective.
this is definitely a very strong message to the youth, Mr. Siblani, and I do thank you for your time, and thank you for being with us here on the Dearborn Show. I do want to thank all the viewers for watching today. Please tune every week with a new guest. Thank you, Dearborn.